Look it! 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 It's Regina's spell book. Or Cora's spell book.
Ermagurgigers, we finally did it. The course book has started. Look at this, we're doing it. So I started it the same way I do every other book, where I kind of separate the pages and then glue them together. So then you're not looking at all of them when you're, flipping through it. You kind of get to select and choose. This book had so much character to begin with too, so I didn't really have to do a lot for, adding to the extra pages because they already look so old. I covered it in black acrylic paint, front to back, and just the corners, but I left the inside the same way. I also cut a couple pages out to thin it out a little bit. Just it's totally up to you if you want to do that, depending on what book you find at your thrift store. This is a stencil I printed straight off the internet. You can look it up under Cora's book and then print it from there. It's very easy. And then cut it in half because it was on an angle, because the way someone was holding it in the picture. And then I mirrored it to the other side. Now I'm cutting it out on a cardstock. I'm not sure exactly what weight it is, but it's pretty thick. It's not quite a cardstock. It's like probably about double the thickness of a cardstock, but it's not quite cardboard. It took me forever, but it was worth it, I guess, and it was totally crooked, but I kind of got so bored of doing it after a while. I'm like, it's good enough. This book, I cut out the front leather off of it. Well, not leather, but whatever the material was. And then cut a hole in the very front, probably leaving about half an inch on either side and then about an inch on the top, an inch and a half on the top, depending on how big your stencil is when you cut it out and how big your book is. With that leftover leather that I already peeled off, I glued around the edges to clean it up, to make it look a little bit nicer. And I'm glad I did that because it was really hard to do and it was shattered and anyway. So my trusty Tim Hortons cup acted as a stencil for me to cut out the corners. This is that same cardstock that I used to cut out the front piece, and I'm cutting out, you basically need 2, 4, 6, 8 of these to put on the corner, and it's just to add a little bit of thickness. So when I glued it together, I actually glued it on the original piece that I cut out, so I knew how thick I had to make it, just so I could kind of have that little bit of gap so I could slide it on after. These are just some random little silver balls I had just to add the texture to it, and you can use whatever you have. The silver balls work. Sometimes they come in black beads or whatever the case is. This part took a long time as well, the cover and the painting. I used a silver metallic prism color pen until it died, and then I went to go back and get another one and they didn't have any, and I was like, oh, curses! So I ended up buying a Sharpie brand silver metallic pen. You can see I switch over eventually. You can't even tell the difference. It looks the same. As long as it's a metallic pen, it doesn't really matter. And you're gonna follow the design as I did on the internet. I kind of just hand it on. You can pre-draw it on if you want. It's totally up to you and what kind of patience you have. Me, I have none. I don't even wait till the paint dries. That's how speedy I am at things. And I'm just kind of following the design as I go. The inside of the design had a lot of black trim, and you can see me later on going through that. Once again, I got really lazy and really bored with doing it, so I kind of gave up. Oh, and before I go over that, these little nucleus looking spiral things that I just did. Oh, there's the black pen that I was talking about. But don't listen to that. Just look at those little nucleus things. Do you see it underneath here? I tried to do a bigger one on the second thing. I had to repaint over this 10 times. If you watch, it's not an easy design to follow. I swear, I probably spent at least 4 days painting over it, then trying again, and painting over it and trying again. My tip to you is take your time and really follow the pattern, because it saves you time, and I was like, curses! And I just ended up scribbling all over it. This is that same cardstock that I spray painted gold. I ended up using this for the bindings as well on the side, and that's what I'm cutting out right now. I'm just trying to figure out what shape I want to use. So you can see I got 2 little tongue depressor looking things, and then with a little nubbin on the end. And that's going to be your side binding pieces. Yeah, there you go right there. I left a little spot for it, but I'm going over the nucleus things in black because they had a black trace on the inside. Some of them look so bad. I couldn't even handle those. But here are those corner pieces. I once again spray painted the gold, spray painted them in the same gold, including the little balls. The whole thing was spray painted. It saved a lot of time, plus the metallic spray paint covers so well. I'm putting on the bindings on the side as well. I did use a little bit of dry brushing. That's why it looks like you can see a little bit of black on there. I did dry brush the gold ends a little bit, and I do go over it and dry brush it after, and you'll see me do it a little bit later. And you're just gluing that centerpiece in as well. I did spray paint it with the same gold spray paint that I used on everything else. And yeah, I mean, I think it turned out pretty cool with the color. And then once you kind of dry brush it like you see me doing here over it, you don't need to use a lot, just enough to make it kind of look dirty. And then your little jewels and your detail with, that's a fine liner that I used to put that little like black detailing there. These are toothpicks that I spray painted in the same gold and glued them for the hinges. And then I had some buttons and some jewels that I was just adding on to add on the embellishments. Now, the only thing you don't see me do here is the heart part of it. Now, the reason why you're not seeing me do it is because I nearly burnt my house down doing it. I don't know why I can never find those red jewels for things, but I can't. Our craft stores in Canada don't sell them. So I ended up having to melt down one of the jewels that I already had, and it was a disaster, and it stunk up the house. I even did it in the garage, and Nick was like, our house is on fire. I'm like, don't even worry, it's just the jewel. So I don't suggest doing that. I would highly recommend trying to find a jewel, and I know that a lot of the stores in the States have a lot of more cooler things than we get up here, so I'm sure you could maybe find something to replace that, or use a different color jewel. That's a heart shape. Totally up to you. Another thing you could do is maybe cut it out of like a shiny red paper, which I opted out of, but I thought about doing. So, but that's about it. That is that. And I hope you were able to follow along somewhat or get some inspiration in some way so you can do this yourself. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for future videos. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
One day, when I become a millionaire, I'm going to open up a factory that just makes gems. Different shaped red gems for people that do like crafts and cosplay stuff, because I can never find big enough red gems to do these things. That's what it is, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have any comments, I always love to read them. Any requests, for sure, request. And if you want to check out my Instagram, it's GGAETZZ. And hopefully my next video will be coming up soon, because I've done like a bazillion things, like since my last video and this video, but none of them have been really like video posting worthy, because it's all stuff that I don't know how to explain. Like I made this magic card wolf head, and I made a mermaid tail, and an Ari fox, and a couple Mickey ears, like just tons of stuff in between. So that's why this kind of got put on the back burner. So I apologize for the people that were waiting for this. But other than that, we'll talk again soon, and have a good day. Goodbye!